My name is Matt Simon. I moved to New Hampshire in 2006.
My name is Andrew Carroll. I'm 18 years old, and I'm moving to New Hampshire.
They're moving to New Hampshire because they want to join something called the Free State Project. I could explain what that is, but instead I'll let Chris Lawless do it. He's the project spokesman. He joins us now with Christina Heller, who just made a movie about the Free State Project. So, Chris, what is it?
The Free State Project is an effort to gather 20,000 libertarians to the most free state, which is New Hampshire, in an effect to make positive change for a libertarian society.
So 20,000 libertarians, people who are frustrated with the level of government we have in America, they would move to New Hampshire and then our people would take over?
No, takeover is the wrong word. So what we're trying to do is have 20,000 move, and not just 20,000 people, 20,000 activists. And 20,000 was a number that was devised by the gentleman who came up with the idea that he thinks 20,000 people in a state with only 1.3 million can make a huge impact.
And about 10,000 plus people have signed up saying they will move there if you get to this critical mass.
That's correct.
Only 880 or so live there now.
Right.
This is going to happen?
Absolutely. With only 800 odd people moving, we're already seeing huge impacts. Over 12 Free Staters have already been elected to the New Hampshire House. Dozens have been elected to local offices, and then others don't join. They join local groups, gun groups, pro-legalization of marijuana groups. You name the Liberty organization, Free Staters are joining natives and augmenting their ranks.
And Christina, you were not a libertarian, but you made this movie about them.
That's right. I was making short documentaries for Current TV during the New Hampshire primaries in 2007, 2008, and I discovered the Free State Project and made a short about it for Current TV. And afterwards, a lot of the Free State members sort of embraced me because they realized I wasn't going to make them look like lunatics. You know, I just wanted to portray them in a fair and honest way. And once I started learning more about the project, I was like, this is much, much more interesting and complex than I realized it warrants something more like a feature investigation.
So let's play a few seconds of your documentary.
The true believers are arriving weekly.
There are people today, just like there have been throughout history, who are the sort of people who need a frontier.
People have come up with ideals about how society should look, and he has moved for them.
Onward to freedom!
Libertopia, which is a nice name, and so you were a garden variety lefty before. Now you're more liberal. You got convinced a little bit?
Well, yeah. You know, I was always socially liberal, and you know, you're not often presented the two more than the two options. And I looked at the Democrats, I looked at the Republicans, and I thought, well, I guess I'm more like the Democrats. And then when I started associating with more of the Libertarians, I realized that I actually hadn't thought a lot about the economic issues, and that I was much more of a Libertarian. I think more people are Libertarians than realize it.
I hope so. And Chris, you were living in California. You moved.
Absolutely. My wife and 2 children, we were in California. We'd actually just moved to San Francisco, and I heard about the Free State Project. And one thing that got me excited was libertarians doing something instead of talking about something.
Now, New Hampshire, it's cold. I mean, why New Hampshire?
Valley Forge was cold. So New Hampshire, we actually was a vote. When the project got to 5,000 signers, they took a vote of all the states with about 1 million population in that area. And New Hampshire
You wanted a
won.
small enough state that you could have more influence.
Absolutely. And New Hampshire has no income tax. It has no sales tax. It has great gun laws. It has a 400 state member legislative body. And we have these things called town meetings where you vote for your town budget, line item. When you all get together in the high school gym, you can make a huge impact in a small state.
So you have these 10 least populous states: Alaska, Delaware, Idaho, Maine, Montana, Vermont, North Dakota, South Dakota. Wyoming came in second. None of these states are really that warm. Something about, maybe that's why they're small states.
I believe that statists like warm weather.
What came in last?
Actually, to be honest with you, I don't know.
I think I know this. New York comes in last. No joke. On the Liberty Index, New York comes in.
I just meant on the vote of these small states where people least wanted to move to. Your goals, once you get this critical mass.
We've helped jury nullification. We're trying to get constitutional carry.
All right, but one at a time. Jury nullification means let people know that they don't have to follow the orders from the judge. If you think it's unjust, vote your conscience.
Right, and the judge will now instruct the juries to vote their conscience.
That's now passed.
It's passed the New Hampshire House. It has not passed the Senate yet.
And affirmative action in government.
Correct. That's just discrimination in a different way.
Also passed the House, pending in the Senate. Constitutional carry, allowing people to carry a concealed weapon.
Well, in New Hampshire, we actually have very good gun rights, but now you don't even need to get permission to conceal carry.
Oh, this is beyond concealed. This is concealed carry without a permit.
Without a permit. We already can do it now it's a shell issue state, and you can open carry without permission from anyone.
Which sounds really weird to us in New York, but you should know that already that's the law in Alaska, Arizona, Vermont, and Montana. Medical marijuana.
It's passed before, and the governor, a Democrat, vetoed it, and we just passed it again, and we're going to keep doing it until we pass it.
And how about relations with the police? From my Facebook page, Alexander Cohen says, I've seen videos that do not inspire confidence. And these are marijuana protests.
Absolutely, there are civil disobedience in New Hampshire who don't think they need to ask permission from the government, and they are being arrested. And the natives are pro and against, just like you might think, but it's getting the word out there.
And that's not ticking people off, I would think.
It's certainly ticking some people off, but in the big picture, civil disobedience is actually a powerful message to actually have people wake up. And that's what some of them want to, they don't believe in voting, so they're going that route for a change.
All right, well, let's go to the audience. Anybody here want to move to New Hampshire and join up? Anybody here think it's a really dumb idea? I think dumb idea slightly won that, but please, both of you, stick around because I'd like you to take questions from the audience about the Free State Project when we return. We're back now to hear what the audience has to say about the Free State Project. Chris Lawless from the project is here, and Christina Heller, who did a documentary about the Free State Project. So, who's first? Very few of you want to join, but were you one?
I'm a Free Stater myself, so I just wanted to ask you if you could talk a little bit about the social
What do you mean you're free? Are you signed up?
I'm pledged.
You live there?
I'm moving within a year.
Okay.
New York is, as Christina said, New York is the least free state in the union right now, and I'm sick of it. And I'm willing to give up urban amenities to taste more freedom.
Okay. What's your question or comment?
I was just wondering, Chris, if you could talk about the benefits of concentrating libertarians, the social benefits of concentrating libertarians in one area rather than trying to stick it out as, you know, the only libertarian in your town or city across the country.
Yeah, I've done that and it's lousy. But
If you go anywhere in the country, you know, you can get 5 or 6 great libertarian activists. And they work hard, and they're smart, and they're smarter than everyone else they're talking with, and it's just like pushing a rock uphill. In New Hampshire, it's not me by myself. I'm working with this great activist who learned here. I'm working with that great activist, and I'm working with local natives who've been doing the fight. And together, you can just achieve more. It's amazing how we're no longer even talking about the tenets of libertarianism. We're now talking about how to make it effective. And we're seeing those effects already with just the small numbers we have. So it's amazing what just a few people who are committed can do.
But aren't they all a bunch of nerdy, geeky libertarians?
I mean, geeky, but is that such a bad thing, really? Studio audience, what do you think? Geeky, good thing? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd be curious to know, as an outsider, where does the Free State Project stand on the issue of abortion in terms of reproductive rights, women's health, things like that? I'd be curious to know what you guys and the movement thought about it.
So that's actually one of those great dividing questions. Is the Free State Project itself has no opinions. It is move to New Hampshire. That's the sole thoughts of the Free State Project. Within the project itself, that is probably the biggest dividing line. There's probably 50%, well, there's probably 49% for, 49% against, and there's 2% who are, depends on the day.
And just to explain to the audience that libertarians are split on abortion. We libertarians believe you should be able to do anything you want as long as you don't hurt anybody else. So then it becomes a question of the person living inside you. What are your rights and what are their rights?
Exactly. That's one of the tough questions about how you define the life.
I was going to say, you see a lot of bumper stickers in New Hampshire and probably around the country for libertarians that say, I'm pro-choice on everything. And I always thought that was kind of...
It's a good point. The Democrats say they're pro-choice, and they're pro-choice on abortion, but they don't want to give you choice about where you send your kid to school, or to carry a gun, or to hire an intern, or pay less taxes. They're for less choice. Yes, sir.
Where are there 20,000 spare jobs in New Hampshire?
Well, believe it or not, New Hampshire has one of the lowest unemployments in the nation.
But separately, free people, when they show up places, they create jobs, create their own jobs. They invent things.
We've had people open bars, we've had people open restaurants, we've had people who trades in silver, at Schreier Silver. We have people who are photographers. There are people like me who brought their jobs with them. There's all sorts
You're
of
a
stuff.
computer guy.
I'm a computer guy, yeah. But it's also, I'm sure 20,000 people move into New York City every year. Are there enough jobs for them?
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, if somebody were contemplating signing up for the Free State Project, how long before you have to make that move? Not saying I want to wait, but I've got a house to sell. I've got to create a business if I'm not going to find it, or find a job.
So if you signed up today, you would not be committing to move until within 5 years after we hit 20,000 signers. I would recommend that you come to Porcfest.
And check out the movie.
Porcfest. It stands for the Porcupine Freedom Festival. And the porcupine is the mascot of the Free State Project. And we have a big party every year for us to get together as a community, but then also for people outside of the state to come in and see what we're about and check out New Hampshire, see what you like about New Hampshire.
And the porcupine, because it's an animal that doesn't bother anybody, but don't mess with it.
You got it.
Well, good luck to you, and
thank you.
Chris and Christina, thank you both very much.
Thanks, Tom.
Coming up, I've been yelling at government. And we in the news business are always complaining about something. But there is some good news that we should celebrate. That's next.